The ball is in Russia's court. Those are the words of the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio as Ukraine agrees to a 30-day ceasefire deal. We're still waiting for a response from the Kremlin, but let's turn now to Yuriy Sak, advisor to the Minister of Strategic Industries of Ukraine. Yuriy, thank you very much for joining us. First of all, a ceasefire of this nature was something that President Zelensky was against for a long time. Why do you think Ukraine has accepted this now?
Good evening, Andrew. Thank you very much for having me. And well, of course, this idea of a ceasefire is not new. And actually, just a few days ago, it was our initiative, and we proposed this to the partners in the US. We said, look, we are ready to declare a ceasefire in the air, on the sea. So we were prepared to stop, for example, the aerial campaign of deep strike drones attacks into Russian military and infrastructure inside Russia. But, you know, today during the meeting, the American side has proposed to go even further. And look, we have always said that we want to end this war, and there were voices there who doubted our commitment. So, you know, we are ready to go further and to demonstrate that, look, Ukrainian people, probably, without a doubt, is the only nation in the world who really wants to end this war as soon as possible. And of course, right now, we will have to see if Russia will reciprocate, because it is one thing for us to agree with the partners from the US, but it's another ballgame to get Russians to do the same.
Yes. Well, when I was talking to your president recently, he said that after the Minsk agreement, the ceasefire in 2014, the Russians simply, their snipers used Ukrainians as target practice, and the shooting went on, and eventually you had to respond, and that broke down. And his prediction was this time round it'd be the same thing, but not with snipers, with missiles and drones attack. In other words, he did not trust the Russians to keep any ceasefire deal. Is that a general view in Ukraine? And if so, what's your expectation of what Moscow is going to do next?
On the one hand, Andrew, of course, we have no grounds to be optimistic about Russians sticking to their commitment and agreeing to achieve peace. Now, at the same time, the difference between now and then is a different president at the White House. And we believe that, you know, despite all the rhetoric, it is for sure that the President of the United States of America has sufficient leverage to achieve what he himself calls peace through force. So we will very soon see how these, you know, President of America has cards, right? And time for him to actually use them. And we're really hopeful, quietly optimistic, but of course we'll be on guard because we have a bad history of dealing with Russians. We know that they're not capable of honoring the agreements. They've broken, what, more than 25 ceasefires in the past 10 years. So it's a challenge. But look, it's early days, and today was a good day. Let's hope that that the dynamic stays positive.
Well, that's really good to hear. In essence, I suppose what Ukraine is therefore hoping for is you challenge Russia to demonstrate that Russia is serious about making peace. And if Russia is serious about making peace, then the negotiations go to the next phase. But if Russia is not, if there are Russian infringements of the ceasefire deal, then the Americans at least know what's what and perhaps come in more forcefully in support of Ukraine as they used to do. Is that the essence of it, do you think?
Yes, hopefully so. And actually today we already see a great development, because the temporary pause on providing Ukraine with intelligence and military support has been lifted immediately after the two delegations left the room in Jeddah. So, you know, going forward, of course, we will have to see how it plays out. But we have to remember that when Donald Trump, even when he was just running for presidency, he said that his vision of how to achieve peace in Ukraine would be, you know, give and take, would be carrots and sticks. And now it seems that it's Russia's turn to actually sit down at the negotiating table with the Americans and show their true colors. And I will repeat, we hope that the US will be able to use the leverage to force Russia, because we want to end this war more than anybody else in the world.
Well, it's a very, very important moment for your country and for all of Europe. Yuriy, thank you very much for talking to me this evening.